Hello everyone, it is NickNator811, and today I'm finally back, but this time I'm gonna make a new game review. And today I will be reviewing Battlefield 5. Is this game worth it in 2021? Let's find out. Now before I jump into reviewing Battlefield 5, I'm going to briefly look at Battlefield 1, which is the predecessor to Battlefield 5. Now, BF1 was and still is an amazing game. Released in 2016, it was one of the first battlefields to take place during World War I, a war which is rarely used for video games. This game is still a good buy in 2021. BF1 proved that game companies don't need to adhere to current futuristic game trends to have a good experience. With the release of Call of Duty World War II in 2017, EA and DICE knew they had to catch up and bring Battlefield back to its roots. So in 2018, the first reveal trailer for Battlefield 5 was released, and it was...
Hello, old friend.
yeah, pretty shitty. My problem with the trailer is the way it's presented. I have no idea whether it's supposed to represent the campaign or multiplayer. It feels like a strange blend of both, and as a result, it is one confusingly bad trailer. So I did not buy the game at launch. But all that would change in 2019 with the release of the Pacific War trailer. And may I just say this? This trailer is epic. Like, good lord, this is what the main trailer should have been. Just showcasing war, death, and destruction, this trailer more accurately represents Battlefield's multiplayer as a whole. So I became intrigued, and during Christmas of 2020, I bought the game on Steam, as well as Battlefield 1. So after 2 years, let's get ready to dive into this game and see if it's worth it in 2021. Starting off with the campaign. The campaign is spread out across 4 war stories, not including the epilogue and prologue. The prologue itself is a great introductory level for Battlefield 5, similar to Battlefield 1's intro level. The real bulk of the story is spread out between individual war stories, whether it's fighting in North Africa, Norway, France, or even Berlin. Each war story feels unique, and environments look breathtaking. If you compare the graphics of COD World War II and Battlefield 5, Battlefield 5 has much better graphics and attention to detail than COD. Under No Flag involves Billy Bridger, a convicted felon arrested for attempted armed robbery. He is given a chance to reform by joining a special unit known as the SBS. He and George Mason are tasked with destroying Stuka dive bombers, but Bridger's explosives don't work right and Mason is shot in the arm. Our heroes then have to steal a German armored car and to get evac, but then Billy unknowingly called the entirety of the German army to their location and need to fight them off. Just as it seems it is the end of the line for them, the reinforcements show up just in time to foil the German counterattack, thus saving our heroes. The Nordlies puts you in control of Solveig, a young resistance fighter who is trying to rescue her captured mother Astrid and thwart the Germans' plans to export the so-called heavy water, an ingredient needed for making atomic bombs. After retrieving the dossier containing all of the info for heavy water, they try to escape, but both are about to be captured by Lieutenant Weber. Astrid then pushes Solveig off of the bridge to avoid her getting captured as well. An injured Solveig wanders in the freezing cold and is about to die of hypothermia, but the voice of her mother in her head pushes her to run into a Nazi cabin in the woods, killing the only occupant and staying the night there. The next day, Solveig sets out to find and destroy the heavy water shipments, as well as destroying Norwegian intel. After following some German trucks, she finds her mother being held prisoner. Unfortunately, she is discovered by the enemy and then chases after her mother, who is being held on a U-boat. She tries to free her mother by shooting the enemies, but is quickly outnumbered and tries to surrender. Astrid, who is now wounded, goes toward a grenade and pulls the pin, killing herself and Weber, while also ensuring the heavy water gets sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Might I just say, this is one of my favorite war stories for 3 reasons. 1, I love the winter aesthetic, especially in the beginning at night with the northern lights detailed so beautifully, making this one of the most beautiful winter levels I've played in any FPS game. 2, I like the skiing mechanics. They are quite unique, however, if you are not careful, you can fall off a level to your death. And 3, I find the story to this one quite captivating, and it gives you a good idea of what kind of sacrifices resistance fighters made to try and liberate their countries and foil the Germans' evil plans. The Tirailleurs war story is about 2 brothers from Senegal, Deme and Idrissa, that are shipped out to fight in the Battle of France during 1944. At first they are treated poorly and forced to dig trenches, but then they are sent to the front lines to destroy anti-aircraft guns. After this, they decide to go attack the German defenses at the chateau, but at the cost of his brother Idrissa. Deme and what's left of his unit capture the chateau and have a picture taken for the future generations. And finally, The Last Tiger puts you in control of Commander Peter Müller, a high-ranking tank commander with a lot of experience. You are tasked with destroying enemy American tanks during the defense of Berlin. Peter soon realizes that the chance of victory is getting smaller, and it seems as if all hope is lost. One of their men was hanged for desertion. However, he was just doing what Müller told him. Later on, the tank driver Kurtz has had enough of the lies and decides to give up, but Schroeder shoots him dead, claiming that he was a deserter. The Americans quickly rush in and start attacking, and Müller is about to surrender to the Americans, but Schroeder does not allow it and shoots him. This war story really gives you an idea of what the ending of the war was like in the Germans' perspective, and lets you see just how much damage we caused them near the end of the war. Not many World War II games allow you to see the war from the enemy's point of view, so this stands out. Overall, the war stories are all amazing in terms of storytelling and level design. Now, multiplayer, on the other hand, is what you would expect from a Battlefield game. You have your conquest with large maps, drivable vehicles, squads, and so on. All of the classes are there. The assault class can use assault rifles and semi-auto rifles. They prioritize damage rather than support. The medic class can revive teammates faster and can use submachine guns and some bolt-action carbines. They aren't that suited for combat, so they are more of a support role. The engineer class can use machine guns and shotguns, and are mainly used to repair vehicles, fortifications, and more. They are also in the support role. And finally, scouts, who can spot enemies and use either self-loading rifles or bolt-action rifles as snipers with or without scopes. The scout is useful for spotting enemies for the team. Without scouts, the enemy is hard to see. The new buddy revive system makes it so that anyone can revive you, not just medics, but it is much slower than if you had a medic, so medics aren't completely phased out. The maps are really well designed. Now, I will admit, I'm not very good at Battlefield, as you can tell by all these deaths, but I have some good moments like spotting enemies, reviving teammates, repairing stuff and whatnot. However, sometimes my teammates are jerks and don't want to help me, or just completely leave my squad for no reason. Out of the however many hours I recorded, only an average 1 guy would revive me out of all 64 players total. Another problem is that enemies are hard to see at points, leading you to be killed by enemies you can't see, and sometimes the servers like to crap out and disconnect everyone during a match. Also, in rare instances, you can find people hacking in the game. Though they are rare, they are annoying to come up against. Despite all of the flaws of multiplayer, it is still a fun experience. My favorite maps are the Pacific ones because they look so cool and very nicely detailed. In conclusion, Battlefield 5 to me is not as bad as people say it is. Now that it has had a few years to iron out the bugs and add new content, if I had to rate this game, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. I'd say it's worth it on sale, along with Battlefield 1. And that's all. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time for more content.